welcome to the season 2 finale of Media Lit. It may be the finale, but we still treat each piece of media like great literature. As always, I'm your host, Randy Elaine, and joining me is the one, the only, the wonderful Kris Ingersoll. Kris, how you doing tonight?
So good, Randy. I can't believe we are here at the end of yet another year of podcasting together, another year of friendship. I'm just thrilled to have this chance to gather tonight to recap this with you to celebrate season 2 of Media Lit.
Yeah, I can no longer picture myself without a podcasting family. In fact, the last full pod I sat through before recording this, it was our buddies Jen and Sarah over at Movies and Us. It was their year in review, where their podcast family, including us,
Yep.
all sent in their favorite new watch of the year. And it felt so great to be a part of that and just to see and hear not only the movie recs, but just the power of those connections that
Yeah, that
people
came out-
built over podcasting.
That came out great. That was a really fun listen.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kris, last year we got together for a season 1 finale. We talked about some of our favorite moments, and we also, quite adorably, I would say, exchanged mixtapes in which we ranked all 10 songs. It's our annual gift to one another. And once again, we have each prepped a list of 10 songs for our fellow podcaster. And that's where we're going to spend the bulk of this episode. But first, it's been another full year of the pod, so we have to celebrate everything that we've accomplished so far. What are some of your just general highlights of the year? Steps forward we've taken as a podcast, things like that.
Forgive me for going here first since you threw it to
Yeah.
me first, but man, we've got this wonderful growing family of podlings with the listeners and the folks who come and join us to make the thing. And while we had a number of repeat guests in season 2, which is such an honor to have folks come back and join us again, we had more than 15 new guests.
Wow.
In season 2. That is like such a blessing to me. 15 new members of our pod family. So a big accomplishment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I share that with you. Just the process of networking, it feels different than it did in the beginning. I mean, everyone's been welcoming all along. But even when I'm reaching out to someone for the first time, I feel a kinship because I know there is something about this conversation, this idea of sharing ideas with another person that ties us all together. So yeah, it feels like family. And then really specific ways, like we've just been expanding the brand. We added Remedial Rewatch with our buddy Tyler McCarthy. I always wanted to do a full series rewatch, and we are well into that project. So that's been an absolute joy. We got to wrap up our trilogy of Knives Out podcasts with the great Bill Bodkin of the Pod Break.
It's on my list.
Yeah, so it's just been a really special year. We could talk about that for hours upon hours if we really wanted to. But we got to get to the point. So
all right, hold on. I got 3 more I want to hit
please.
real quick.
Yeah, man, hit me with them.
Listen, we added wrestling coverage to the portfolio this year.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm stoked. That's now something that Media Lit gets to talk about, right? Talk about so many things. We had a live event. We got to get together and see a concert together. Live music shared amongst friends is a huge milestone. And we got a little bit of content for the pod out of it too. So definitely was on my list. And then I noted also our growing partnership, not just with the Pop Break family, which are so important to us, but also our Sigsy family. We got our second collaboration, annual collaboration with them around the holidays, which was such a blast to do. And we even welcomed AJ over to Media Lit this year.
Yeah.
So really wanted to make sure we celebrated that growing partnership as well.
And while we're on that, I mean, shout out to the great Doug Leaf of Nostalgia Marcanum.
Come on.
We did so many pods with him this year. In fact, he is going to be all over our Prop Cave segment because he's been kind enough to port our game over to his podcast when we come for a visit. So, Doug, we love you. Thank you for all the great opportunities. And yeah, just everyone out there. Should we try to narrow this down to some of our key favorite moments, Kris?
Let's do it. Let's get a little narrow. We'll do it Media Lit style. We'll do some humor and heart.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way, man. So listen, we're not a comedy podcast, but we have a good time here. We often share a delightful laugh alongside our guests. Uh, and we had lots of great laughs this year, just like last year. And Kris, I'm going to go to you first. What is one of your favorite moments of humor from the year?
I This is a big blanket moment for me, so forgive me for not narrowing this one down to
It's
some
okay, man.
specific gut-busting moment of laughs, but our partnership with Tyler McCarthy has really
Yeah.
deepened this year, and that started with our coverage of, a family favorite of mine, Wild America, but it has blossomed into Remedial Rewatch. Man, every time
Hmm.
we record an episode of Remedial Rewatch, the energy the 3 of us share together, it's the most fun in the world. I love having Tyler join us. It
Hmm.
brings something a little bit funnier out of the 2 of us, I think. It's just a dynamic that is in a different kind of realm. It's talking about such a funny property, and so we're getting to
Hmm.
talk about some of the most absurd things television has had to offer in this millennium, some of the funniest things that television has had to offer in this millennium. So Remedial Rewatch for me is where the humor really lived in season 2.
Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to piggyback off of that with a little smuggle. Right at the top of my list, um, as the main editor of the podcast, I'm often putting together clips of our episodes. And of all the clips I put together this year, I think my absolute favorite came from the aforementioned Tyler McCarthy alongside Allie Nelson when they joined us to talk Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Mhm.
And Zebo the Clown. Just the polished comedy from this duo.
Yeah.
It was Tyler McCarthy imagining what the kids' parents would say when they got home that night. He's just like, one, where were you? Two, why is there pudding everywhere? Three, where did you get a comical amount of cigars to put in our microwave? Uh, and then he caps it off after some back and forth with Ali by saying, because he's a clown, I assume he put one piece of spaghetti in his mouth and slurped the whole thing down. And Tyler, you kill me, man, and I love you.
Yeah. That is absolutely brilliant. Wonderful, wonderful pick. They
Yeah.
are a hoot together, the 2 of them. I
Yes.
was I was just celebrating a recent episode, uh, of their podcast, Not Couple Goals. My gosh, are they
Yes.
funny.
Yeah, I just checked out The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Okay, yeah.
Really, really great reflection there. And while we're on it, we're just about to record a remedial rewatch with Ali Nelson. So stay tuned for that very special episode. For my real pick, that was my real pick, but I've got to do another one.
Yeah.
Uh, we got to do some Severance coverage, a
Mhm.
show that I love, a show that I covered every episode of season 2 for the pop break with these really intense and obsessive write ups. And we got to meet with Eric J. Carlson, who is the body double uh, for the star of Severance, the star of Parks and Recreation,
Mhm.
the great Adam Scott, whose name I can't remember. And you could see me doing that.
I almost
Uh,
jumped in for you, but I trusted you would get there.
I was getting ready to call this an edit moment, but that was just too funny. I think that's just staying in. Me unable to produce Adam Scott's name after a whole year of obsessively writing about him
Yeah.
doesn't get much better than that. But the comical moment, it was when Eric gave me hope that perhaps the prop from Chikai Bardo, the undergraduate paper that Mark Scout was reading for one of his students, All Quiet on the Western Blunt. Eric gave me hope that perhaps that paper really exists. Perhaps it was actually written, and I might be able to really find it someday. I have not looked any further into it because I just prefer the head canon where that paper is out there, and I can imagine I'll get to read it someday.
Yeah, it's like you want the signed autograph from LeVar Burton. You don't wanna meet LeVar Burton.
You can't disappoint a photograph. Any quick honorable mentions before we move on?
No, 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 I don't wanna cheapen the beauty that you've already laid down before us.
Sure.
Those quotes from Tyler were great, man.
Well,
Uh
I do have to cheapen it. Just a quick on the way out the door. You mentioned our wrestling coverage. Just honorable mention to Brandon Weiss for describing the time he knocked an ice cream cone out of a child's hand. just to sell his heel persona at a wrestling match.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I guess anything with
We love you,
anything
Brandon.
Brandon, truly, sir, always and forever, you have my heart. Doug Leaf, anything Doug Leaf, like when he joined
Yeah.
us for,
Yes.
I almost said Cartoon All-Stars, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
season 3 stuff. But anytime Doug joins us, he's dropping impressions and we have a blasty blast. So keep an eye out, Podlings. If you want to laugh, look for his name in the feed.
Beautiful.
All right. Shall we move on to the deeper feels?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, buddy. Hit me first. What was your favorite moment of heart from this season 2?
Yeah, I think I might have landed here no matter what, but just the current state of politics and the state of our country right now. It was hard not to look back to our letter from Birmingham jail
Yes,
episode.
sir.
We got to meet with your wonderful friend Chuck Jones. He came on the show. He talks about education. He talks about his life and his experience. We talked a lot about protest, the sacrifice that true protest requires, the challenges and questions that people are going to put forward. He shared some deeply personal stuff, and some of it was scary stuff. You know, what do I say to my child when there are armed officers in the streets of Boston? This was
Mhm.
back during COVID. And he could express that fear and how you arm yourself to face it, how you strengthen yourself. But the real moment of heart was that despite the fact that he's living with all of that, despite the fact that he was willing to put himself out there and share those thoughts with us, and still be able to follow that up with a story about how he went out of his way to open himself up to a neighbor,
Yeah.
uh, and become buds over playing pickleball together. That really warmed my heart. Chuck, we loved you. I hope you'll come back soon to Media Lit.
Brother Chuck Jones. One of the I've had the pleasure of, um, gathering some really wonderful men into my orbit over
Mhm.
the course of the years. I've lived in a few places, I've worked a few places, and, um, it's not every person that I meet that I make a deep connection with that will last a long time, but I've picked up a
Mm.
handful of brothers over the years, and Chuck Jones is a true brother, one of the best guys I've ever stood next to. That was
Mhm.
top of my list. Letter from Birmingham jail was just the whole episode, but specifically that pickleball story was
Yeah.
so wonderful. I remember we dropped a media bite about it. We excerpted that and published it separately because it was just such a wonderful story. So that was certainly on my list. I'm glad that you went there.
Yeah.
Um, Separately, we love guests on our show. We talked about that
Mm.
earlier. And I think it was during one of our end of year recap episodes. Maybe it was for the revisionist almanac, but
Mhm.
I just love the vulnerability that our guests bring
Yeah.
when they're talking about something that they love, something that moved them, something they shared with somebody. And I remember our Rilo Kiley episode, and that was really
Mm.
special for me because I got to witness 3 really good friends who shared this really special thing at a really specific time in their lives, right? Like you all were in college together.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the memories that we make, even if they're only for that time. Like it's great
Yeah.
that you guys have kept a relationship. We don't always, but those memories are
Yeah.
important. That's a formative time and a formative place, and it's full of so much beauty and so much ugliness. It's chaotic and it's wonderful, and so much of that came out as you guys were sharing about the way you related to this music at that time. And specifically Stevie, the way she shared around this music and why it meant so
Mm.
much to her, why she connected with it in such specific ways. Um, I'll really treasure that conversation we had. I'll be grateful for that evening for forever. When I think back on this podcast, not just season 2, but
Yeah.
this podcast in general, really grateful for the 3 of you that night, and the vulnerability that was shared. Um,
Beautiful.
Honorable mention for me, the thing that, like,
Yeah.
moved my heart most this year, I shouted it out a bit earlier, but Wild America with you and Tyler.
Yeah.
I think I said it on that episode, "Man, you guys honored that thing that I love so much." To sit with
Mhm.
you, folks who had no nostalgic connection to this thing that meant the world to me as a child, and know that it still worked for you today, to know that it was something that you wanted to share with your own son. Um, like I said, that's a family favorite.
Yeah.
I have deep feelings about the story there and the relationships there. It's all wrapped up in my own family, my own brothers and our relationships, and yeah, getting to share that with you guys and having you like I said, honor it the way you did was wonderful for me.
I love to make an outline, but what I love even more is when an episode carries us away, and that's what happened with that Wild America episode. It took us to a much deeper place than I anticipated, and it was, yeah, beautiful and memorable. I've got 2 quick honorable mentions, just going all the way back to season 2, episode 1. Our Taylor Swift epic draft,
Oh my
masterminded
god.
by Alex Marcus. It was a blast. It went on for a very long time, but it went on for a very long time because it was just like emotional revelation after emotional revelation, whether it was the connections people made over Taylor Swift's music, or the way that music helped them deal with really difficult and painful times in their lives. People bared their souls for that
Mm,
episode, and I could tell season 2 is off to a great start.
yeah, great call. What a night.
And just one selfish one. It meant so much to me that some of my former students came on as guests to recreate the media lit classroom that inspired this very podcast.
Yeah.
I can't believe I got to do that. It was so cool. And I have been chatting with them a little bit. Um, I sent them a text recently because I saw some rumblings about a very similar sounding fairy movie involving Nshuti Gatwa
Oh, yeah?
that's in development. So we're gonna keep our eyes on that and see what happens with it.
Let's run it back. Let's run it back. That'd be great.
All right. Well, we said the main event here tonight is the playlist, but if you actually listen to Media Lit, you know the main event is the prop cave.
Yeah,
It's
buddy.
the most unique element, I think, of our podcast. I suspect when other podcasters come on their show, it's probably the segment they're the most jealous of because it is a damned blast. As Rilo Kiley once said, any asshole can open up a museum, put all the things on display, put all the things he loves on display so anyone can see them. And that's what we've done. So, how are we going to go about this walk through our respective prop caves, Chris?
It's important that the podlings really walk with us in their minds because we're gonna take them
Mm
room by room. As the podlings at home know, the prop cave is bigger on the inside.
hmm.
It has
Mm.
all kinds of space. And so we've got things on display in cases, and we've got art galleries, and we've got like living spaces and kitchens and all kinds of different areas of our prop cave where the various picks we've made over the year have landed. And so we're going to walk through
Yeah,
room by room. I think maybe we'll start with you. We'll start with your display cases, and then I'll share my display cases. We'll go through the prop cave that way, taking turns. Sound good?
absolutely.
Dope.
Yeah, so here's my quick walk down memory lane. These are all the props I took not only in season 2, but in season 1 as well, just so you can get the full scope. In my display cases, I have one of the Rocket Pack penguins from Batman Returns. I have a Grammaton Cleric art scanner from the classic film Equilibrium.
Classic media lit episode.
Absolutely. I have Charlie Pace's guitar from Lost, but not just the guitar. It has an arrow embedded in its side from Rousseau's Booby Trap. I have one of the very tacky movie magic rattlesnakes from the aforementioned Wild America that the kids encounter on their adventure into the wild. I've got the slobbery Babe Ruth baseball on the tripod stand from the Sandlot, which we covered over on Nostalgia Arcanum. I
It's
have
good.
the One Ring from the Two Towers films. And perhaps nearest and dearest to my heart, a display case featuring Jim Henson's suit from the closing moments of Muppet Family Christmas, my most beloved Christmas special.
Just tremendous.
Yeah.
My gosh, I can't believe you've got the Babe Ruth ball from
Yeah.
Sandlot. That's tremendous. I mean, the One
Mm.
Ring is powerful also. I'm not sure which one actually channels more magic, though.
I think it's the baseball.
Might be, right?
Yeah. As much as I'm a Tolkien guy. Whew.
It's a lot of power in that legend.
Yeah, man. Walk me through the memories in your display case.
All right. So in my display case, starting with some season 1 throwbacks, we've got
Yeah.
um Kelso's just massive data printout signed by De Niro himself from Heat. Great conversation with Bill George. We just don't have that much paper anymore. We don't. I wanted the
Mhm.
the Time Lord Hypercube, the
Mm.
distress signal from the Doctor's wife. And then, of course, from Coyote Ugly, anybody who's seen Coyote Ugly knows there's only one comic book worth mentioning, and it's The Amazing Spider-Man number 129, first appearance of the Punisher. But in
Beautiful.
season 2, I caught Naomi's satellite phone from Lost, that big chunky thing that helped us call off the island from Catch 22.
Beautiful.
I've got the Disruptor puzzle box from Glass
Mm.
Onion. I like to close my eyes and imagine myself with that one in my hands.
Oh, yeah.
I got Legolas's dual blades splattered with orc blood. Thank you, Doug Leaf. And I've got that makeshift tattoo kit from Memento,
Mm.
the empty pen, the whole thing. And last but not least, this was from the Chikai Bardo conversation. I was able to get Gemma's notepad from the Christmas room. I very specifically wanted her handwriting, the penmanship I felt that the performance shows was so specific. Grateful to have.
Yeah. Yeah, such an incredible group of memories. And, as I mentioned earlier, any asshole can open up a museum. So simple display cases were not enough for us. And our prop caves both have pretty expansive, just art galleries. When a display case is not enough, Kris, why don't you keep it rolling through your art gallery?
Absolutely. Really grateful to catch a couple of paired stills of Mr.
Mm,
Freeze and Batman from the end of Heart of Ice. You got Victor's hand on Nora's capsule and Batman looking down on Freeze's room in prison. Then I've got a holographic still of Rogue tossing Cap shield from X-Men 97.
yes.
Just want to see it over and over and over again as I walk past it. Going back to our X-Files conversation on small
Yes.
potatoes, I've got Eddie Van Blunt's, the senior, his circus
Mm-hmm.
poster, Eddie Van Blunt, the father. I've got his circus poster, which is really fun. That's all from season 1. In season 2, we've got, oh god, a still of Baby Doll and her adult self in the funhouse mirror from Batman the Animated Series. Great conversation. A still of mushrooms starting to whisper to each other from in the dark forest from Strange Magic. Those mushrooms are still my favorite thing from that movie.
Absolutely.
I told you I was psyched about wrestling this year. I've got Tiff Stratton's chipped tooth in like a Barbie
Mm,
style display case on the wall, which is chef's kiss to me. What a great pick. I've got a still of Lois and Clark from My Adventures with Superman, sharing that
mm,
loving look. Man, great show, great finale. A still of Tarzan and Jane in the tree meeting hands. Couple of it's
yeah.
maybe I have to have a romantic section of the art gallery. A couple of these go
Yeah.
hand in hand. And then last but not least, maybe the thing that I'm most excited about from late in the season, I've got
Yeah.
the handcrafted crucifix with Eve's apple in the chest from Wake Up Dead Man.
Such a great collection of stuff. And one thing that strikes me, Kris, is we looked at so much great animated content this year,
Mhm.
from Batman to My Adventures with Superman. Shout out to Josh for making sure that I finally watched My Adventures with Superman. You had been trying for a while, and I intended to do it, but to finally get that extra push and fall in love with that show with a character who is the spiritual cousin of our beloved Luz from the Owl
Yeah.
House was a total and absolute blast.
Mhm.
As for my art gallery, I have a display from the film Heat. It is Lieutenant Hannah's quote unquote fucking TV set after he
Nice.
kicks it out the door of his car and it is smashed to smithereens. I've got a still from Heart of Ice, just the main title card of Victor Freeze,
Mm.
darkened, really great look. I've got a still of Rogue and Magneto in the midst of their air dance from X-Men 97, which is a really powerful moment where Rogue gets to experience just like a loving touch and embrace, despite the fact that it ultimately sends her back into the at least hypothetical arms of one Gambit.
Poor Gambit.
Ugh. I've got a paired set of stills from Bluey, the sign.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, on the one side, I've got Bandit pulling up the sign. On the other side, a shot of the family uh, sitting down for a takeout dinner at dusk around their still packed boxes of stuff as they settle back into the home. But
I'm yet to
yeah,
not ugly cry. at
Yeah.
the end of that episode when he pulls the sign finally.
One of the best things that's ever happened on television,
Yeah.
hands down. Thank you, Australia. But as for this season, I added door number 5 from Laughing in the Dark with a
Mhm.
bobbing skeleton head. That's going to bring me back to my childhood nightmares on a regular basis. I've got a still of Baby Doll from Batman the Animated Series, just being struck by multiple funhouse reflections of herself in a key moment. I have a still of the Bog King in Marianne from Strange Magic. Just feeling extreme shame for themselves, well, framed within a heart.
Mm.
I have got the weathered, beaten up Cobra Kai banner from the abandoned dojo in the finale of Cobra Kai. I've got a still of Tarzan with those projection slides flashing across his face as he gets his first exposure to quote unquote civilization. And from our most recent episode, that incredibly elaborate boat prow pulpit from Wake Up Dead Man, which is engraved with a reference to Moby Dick, a text that was on my mind as I watched that film, and a pulpit that's inspired by a pulpit at the Seamen's Bethel in New Bedford, Massachusetts, just pretty much down the street from me as I speak right now. So I had to take it.
Incredible. Yeah, that was it was the pick of the night, hands down, especially the
Mm.
local connection for you. Absolutely wonderful. Keep it going, buddy. Take us into your living area. What have you got making the place comfy?
Yeah, we've got all these props that we've put up on a pedestal, but there are some things we just want around us in a more casual way. And in my living area, I just have a casual still of David Duchovny making a smile into the fisheye lens in that X Files Small Potatoes episode. If you're hanging out with me in the prop cave, you might miss it at first, but when you realize what you're looking at, you're going to get a great laugh out of it. Um, I've got a full prop of Bean Bunny from Muppet Christmas Carol. Something I
Strong
can,
item.
yeah, something I can snuggle up with and cherish for all time. I have, perhaps most importantly, the Casio keyboard with stand from the film Coyote Ugly, when our central character gets her mojo back on the rooftop and finds her voice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I assume you take this out of the prop cave once in a while to the prop roof, right?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Meanwhile, uh, Danielle Fishel, aka Topanga, I took her custom CM Punk jacket that she wore to WrestleMania this past year. I grabbed a really cool piece of wall art from my living area. It is a series of frames containing all of the gibberish text from Batman the Animated Series, Perchance to Dream, that allows Batman to realize he is actually stuck within a dream. He is
Mhm.
not living out an actual reality. So I'm really proud of that one. And as I mentioned earlier, I've got the full paper, All Quiet on the Western Blunt from Severance, Chikai Bardo.
Tremendous. It really, I mean, once again, shout out to the writers. All Quiet on the Western Blunt is perfect.
Yeah.
My living area, like I said, it's got some comfy stuff, got some not so
Mhm.
comfy stuff, but
Yeah,
first
you've got a bigger living area than me. I'm like, you really want to, like, make a tangible connection to your props, and I love that about you.
yeah, it means a lot to me to spend time around my stuff, right? Surround myself with it. And so I got Wayne's family photo of him being dropped on his head from Saving Silverman. Very important to me. It's
Mhm,
like I
mhm.
didn't want it in the art gallery. It's in a frame. It's like on a side table. Very accessible. I've got the Go board from Knives Out. Reminds me of Othello that I shared with my Nana. I've got a set of wedding stills
Mm.
from Bluey from the sign. I
Yes.
really wanted shout out. Uh, Bandit is great, sure, but Stripe got down at that wedding.
He's a fiend.
Yeah, sure is. I've got the Eric Draven's drama mask from
Mhm.
The Crow. Absolutely iconic. That's all season 1 stuff. Now from season 2, going back to Zebo the Clown, I've got Josh's absolutely insane cigar box that he had to place as an offering for Zebo. Not
Yeah.
sure where the child once again procured said box of cigars that late at night at his age, but he had them. And now I have them. I was able to get Hurley's mom's Jesus statue
Yeah.
from There's No Place Like Home. I've got a taxidermied crocodile with the human leg sticking out of it from Wild America. That's mounted up on my living room wall. I absolutely love that. Gonna tell that story just
Mhm.
like the crazy guy from the movie did. This is one of my favorite items. This is an
Yeah, man.
interactive, fully functional, uh, Herbie from the
Yes.
Fantastic Four. He's zipping around my prop cave. I couldn't get an Alfred, but I got myself a Herbie. I've got Lydia Tarr's grand piano from her Berlin apartment from the
Beautiful.
film Tar, of course. And then I've got from A Christmas Story, thanks to Doug Leaf, the teacher's desk drawer just full of confiscated nonsense.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think you absolutely nailed that, Chris. I just love that you are always interacting with these props in your home. And speaking of like making a visceral connection, you also have a much fuller prop closet than I do. But I was thinking maybe we can take everyone just kind of through the rest of our prop living areas, our closets, our kitchen areas, our housewares, our clothing, before we get into the garage and some of our other rooms.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'll rip right through my closet and my kitchen.
Yeah.
So in my closet, wouldn't be my closet if it didn't have a bat suit in it, and so I've got the '92 bat suit from Batman Returns, our first ever podcast together. I've got, the red scarf from Beaker and that was exchanged between Beaker and Scrooge from A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Mm.
I've got, the black full Grammaton cleric suit from Equilibrium. I wear that just on Wednesdays. And, Benny the Jet Rodriguez's new pair of PF Flyers still in the
Beautiful.
box. Yeah, guaranteed to make me run faster and jump higher. And then I've also got, the black Cobra Kai gi from Cobra Kai. It's
Beautiful.
just so cool looking. So that's my closet. I definitely have more in the closet than you do. I'm the fashion guy on the pod. I think Phil
Yeah.
Podkin has made that clear. It's his favorite thing. Uh, and then lastly, we've got a kitchen, right? And so I've got those hot cocoa mugs from the Santa Claus, those big
Mhm.
pewter mugs, just gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're full of Guinness instead of hot cocoa, but I've got the mugs.
Hey, man, I'll take it. I'll have a hot cocoa and a Guinness. I'll
Yeah.
do a little bit of both. I think that's perfect. Yeah, you decided to dive into your closet. I started diving into my bookshelf. I think this is a feature I'm probably going to really continue building in season 3 because right now the only official text I have on the docket is Oppenheimer's copy of the Bhagavad Gita
Mhm.
from Oppenheimer. And that is a pretty incredible book. It ties to a scene that sparked one of our more interesting discussions and debates during that episode. What were the pros and cons of how
Mhm.
they chose to deploy that famous Oppenheimer quote in the film? So check out the episode if you want to hear more. But I was a fan of the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my closet's not empty. I do have the Santa coat from the Santa Claus that the Tim Allen character wears his first night on the job. It's incredibly ornate,
Mm.
and it awakened my childhood imagination. That jacket is Santa to me. I grabbed the 11th Doctor's Tinkerer goggles from the Doctor's wife. And while this isn't a clothing item, just kind of tucked on a shelf in my closet, I've got Eric Draven's weathered, stickered suitcase with some of his special keepsakes. And at some point, I'm probably going to add a keepsake for one of our films to that box. It's a place where you keep some of the things that are
Nice.
most intimately important to you.
Love that. All
Uh,
season 1 stuff there.
yeah,
No clothes in season 2 for you.
no clothes in season 2.
Yeah.
However, I did really think about my kitchen and my ability to entertain. And I took this incredible retro futuristic massive kitchen from the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Mhm.
I thought the production design on that whole film was incredible, including this room. And I've got a place to hang my space age teapot from Star Trek The Next Generation back in season 1. And I'm excited to add some cool new kitchenware items moving forward.
Yeah, we only allowed ourselves the one room in season
Mhm.
2, and that was the big one room you took. Such a great pick.
Mhm. I don't regret it for a second.
Yeah. So go into some of our specialty areas. You wanna take us through your garage?
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of my garage. My main ride, of course, is gonna be Cowboy Wayne's Pest Posse and Rodent Wrangler from Saving Silver.
So good.
And, on rare occasions, I might just choose to take out Hurley's Camaro from Lost,
Mhm.
the one he fixed up with his dad, who's finally trying to get himself on the right path after fallen into the bad dad category for most of his life. But it's a pretty great car, and the fact that it connects to my guy Hurley and an important relationship in his life means everything to me.
Yeah.
Think I should hit people with my other big room while we're at it.
Yeah, go for it.
Back in season one, I took Harlan Thrombey's study from the very first Knives Out movie. And I actually put some of my season two props in there, a few things I didn't cover yet. In that room, you can find Lydia Tarr's accordion from the film Tar. You can find Ellie Arroway's corkboard of star systems from the film Contact. And perhaps my biggest get is I have the Santa Claus slide from A Christmas Story, which slides from the study back down into my living area. Uh, this is a fun prop cave, people.
Yeah.
And if you need to step outside for a minute, I've got my trusty Trial by Stone set from the Dark Crystal. So you can bang at that rock with some swords all you want.
It's a great way to just burn off some frustration, you know?
Who
Trial
wouldn't?
by stone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for me, in the garage, I do have a couple of sweet rides, if I do say so myself.
You really
Um,
do.
yeah, I mean, listen, the Batsuit makes a statement on its own, but it doesn't quite make the same statement when it's not stepping out of the Batmobile, and so I've got the '92 Batmobile to go with my suits. And then in season 2, I was able to pick up that vintage truck at the beginning of A Muppet Family Christmas that had
Mm,
all of those Muppets stuffed inside of it, singing along as they make their way to Fozzie's mom's farmhouse. Love that truck. And then I've got Agra's Observatory from season 1. That's one of my additional rooms. For any Dark Crystal fans, you know what I'm talking about. Big and complex, and a place to just gaze upon the
yeah.
potential futures. And last but not least, I'm sure the podlings at home have been anxiously waiting for me to recap what my single large room from season 2 was.
Hmm.
This is where I turn to the machine from
Yeah.
Contact. Not a room as you might think of it, but we mentioned to you
Yeah.
folks before, the prop caves are bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
And so this is technically my outdoor area of my prop cave, and I've got the full machine, fully functional. We can sit inside and, maybe we drop straight down. Maybe we take a quick ride across the cosmos.
Yeah. Do you know why I love that one for you, Chris?
What is that, bud?
Because if we made contact with outer space, you'd get my vote to be the ambassador from Earth. I think you'd represent us so well. So,
Wow, man,
you
likewise.
know,
Man, I would send you right up there. They need to know about Gatsby. They do.
do they? Do they?
We all do.
They will if they meet me. That's for sure. But yeah, folks, we love imaginary museums. We love imaginary honors. A little more than halfway through season two, we started to add honorable podlings. These were
Mhm.
both fictional characters and actual creators and artists that we talked about on the podcast, who we connected with in such a strong way that we thought they deserved honorary podling status. Over in the fictional character category, we inducted Marty Stouffer Sr. from Wild America, not because he's perfect, but because he is a man who showed the potential for growth. And if he got some more time listening to podcasts, chatting with his sons and some other folks, I think the good in him has a chance to win out. We saw his son reach him at the end of that film. Uh, and we were both so moved by the finale of Cobra Kai, despite the
Yeah.
fact that neither one of us watched the whole series, that we inducted both Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence because they really hit upon so much of what it means to find your values as a man, as a person, as a human being in this world. And to watch them find a middle ground was very moving. Chris, who are some of the real life artists we inducted?
Well, we had a fantastic conversation
Yeah.
revisiting, The Love Below from Andre 3000, and
Hmm.
so, after walking through that that beautiful piece of artistry. We agreed we had to bring him into the Podling family.
Yeah.
He is a man of big hearts, and that means the world to us. Not the only musician to make the list, though. We had to bring in another iconic pair. We brought in Jenny
Yeah.
Lewis and Blake Sennett. That was after we saw them live,
Yeah.
if I recall. Yeah, it was after the show. We got to recap the concert, which was wonderful, and just so grateful to be able to. It only made sense. They meant now so much to season 2 with two episodes. And yeah, such a beautiful story that they share. Our chat with Bill George,
Mhm.
revisiting Christopher Nolan, made it incredibly apparent that we would be fools and false to not
Yeah.
acknowledge his place in the pantheon. And so Christopher Nolan, of course, made the list. Randy, can you do the honors though for maybe our favorite honorary podling, the true patron saint somehow of Media Lit?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we ever would have come up with the honorary podling idea if this man had not just continued to find his way into our podcast over and over again, both before and after we inducted him, if I'm not mistaken. But it is ultimate character actor, ultimate that guy, William Fichtner, who we continue to love to this day. I can't wait to see him pop up in another property.
Yeah, I can't wait to do Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
We'll talk Dark Knight someday. He'll be back.
And quick shout out to Jenny Lewis. Thanks to her resharing a link to our episode on More Adventurous. That is the most listened to episode of Media Lit out there in the world. So thank you to Jenny and Rilo Kiley fans. You are the best kind of people.
It's true. The power of the share is so incredibly apparent. That one share made a huge difference to the
Yeah.
numbers. So thank you, Jenny.
I mean, she deserved the status even without it, but that just
Yeah.
rocketed it to a whole new level. But Kris, we started this honorary podling thing kind of late in the run, so I thought before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, we should just each quickly induct one new fictional character and one new real person uh, into the pantheon here. So I'm going to let you go first for one of those categories, and I will go first in the other category. Which one would you like to go first in?
I will go first in fictional character.
All right.
That's quite all right with you.
Please do.
Um, there's one other episode that is a tried and true Media Lit favorite. It's a
Mm-hmm.
favorite of mine. Um, it the guest on it is a favorite podling of ours, an important member of the Pop
Mm-hmm.
Break family. I am of course talking about The Crow, and this is where I need to
Ooh.
bring Eric Draven. Again, a man of big heart. I can only imagine what it would be like to sit down and talk about stories with Eric Draven, the poet, the musician, the lover, the crow.
I think that's a perfect pick. Not only is that one of the best conversations we've had, our buddy Amanda Rivas is one of the kindest people on the planet. And even if this weren't true, I feel like she just might say it. But she is always bringing up that conversation we had about
Mhm,
the crow. She made it so special.
mhm.
Um, and when we were getting some of our first new podlings back in season 1, I would say that crow episode was the episode that the most people mentioned to us as something that got them listening or got them to take an interest in the podcast. So I absolutely love that you went with Eric Draven here. That's a perfect pick, man. I'm going to go with some low hanging fruit. It's a little bit obvious. As we love to say on this podcast, we are very dad core. We spent a lot of time talking about Bluey. So how can Bandit Healer
Yeah.
not become an honorary podling? It's Bandit. It's Bandit Healer. He's
Yes,
got to be here with
yes.
us.
Showing us how to do the thing. Man, revisiting some of the episodes, watching him struggle with his bouts of depression, watching him
Yes.
struggle with anxiety, um, watching him struggle to meet his own expectations, right, for being a father, like meeting, like living up to his own legend.
Yeah.
Such an important guy, Bandit Healer. Great pick. Thank you for including him.
Beautiful. Well, you went first in fiction, so I'm going to go first in the real life category. This was a little obvious, but it just felt right and appropriate. We recently finished up our trilogy with Bill Bodkin of the Knives Out trilogy, and it seems only right for us to bring in director Ryan Johnson as an honorary podling. We love
Yes.
the Knives Out movies. We love a bunch of his other work. Uh, I I don't know if we've had a really intense conversation about this, but I'm a huge fan of The Last Jedi. Maybe not every piece of the film, um, but I'm not afraid to go on the record saying I love the way they handle Luke Skywalker
Mhm,
in that film. That final stand of his is
mhm.
incredibly moving and powerful to me. And that's the kind of thing I want in my Star Wars. But more importantly, Ryan Johnson can bring me stuff I didn't even know that I wanted in all of his other more original properties. So
Yep.
doesn't get more honorary podling than that.
So, no there was no need to sell me, but I am
Yeah.
sold. Shout out to Broom Boy, and absolutely for our
Yes.
Knives Out trilogy, he's gotta be in here.
Mhm.
Okay. For me, for my real life person, there's somebody else who, um, had a large presence in our podcast over the course of season 2. They were mentioned repeatedly anytime the property they were most associated with came up.
Mhm.
This was the one of the most successful aspects of the film. Also a person we found out who shares our love for Muppets, specifically Sesame Street
Oh.
Muppets. And so, a person that we're both huge fans of, representing a character that we were both huge fans of, Rachel Brosnahan, I felt would make a great honorary podling. Um, it really was her moment with Ernie that we
Mhm.
talked about during the Muppet Christmas Special episode that sold me on this. Anybody who's that in touch with their inner child,
Yeah.
that they can still go and be moved by a conversation in real life with Ernie because, like, that little kid inside of them is so happy to be having that conversation. That's a good person in my book, and a person who deserves a
Yeah.
spot, in our little family here.
No lie, Chris, she was number 2 on my list.
My man.
Uh, I bring up Marvelous Mrs. Maisel whenever I can.
Yeah,
We got to talk about the best Lois ever in live action
yeah.
multiple times this year. Um, and yeah, but you iced it for me during our Muppet Family Christmas draft when you sold me on her Sesame Street appearance. Love that we are that uh, in line with one another. But Chris, we got to get to our playlists. Let's
Alright, let's do it.
see if we were that in line with each other on these playlists or not. I'm excited to find out. How do you want to walk through this?
I absolutely loved your playlist. I think so I've got mine ranked.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm ready to go through from a 10 to 1. They're all winners, but somebody had to be 10. You wanna
Same,
just
no
go
skips.
yeah, back and forth, just kinda write down the list, my 10, your 10, ba 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 ba
Yeah,
ba.
maybe we'll do both our tens, both our nines. Keep
Yeah,
moving forward. All right,
yes.
why don't you hit me with your number 10 first?
Okay. My number 10 was, last ranked, not because it was the last one on the playlist and not because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the song, but this is where I have, "This Is Not the End."
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely tremendous track. I really was digging the sound. It was giving me, like, some Queens of the Stone Age type vibe, a little Franz Ferdinand in there, Modest Mouse.
You got the
Um,
era just right.
okay.
2007.
Yep. Yeah, I was like even maybe a little, like, almost Finger Eleven is in there a little bit. Um, so yeah, great tune, but it was the thing that I felt I experienced most outside the
Yeah,
energy and vibe of the rest of the playlist. It was like a great end cap,
sure.
especially, like, as a season 2 gift and, like, a commentary on the season and on the podcast. Of course, this is not the end.
Yes.
So it was a great end cap to the playlist, but probably the one that, um, if I was gonna, like, curate it for a specific mood, would be the one like,
Yeah.
that one doesn't quite fit." So it was number 10.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. That one means a lot to me because it's one of my go-to reflecting on mortality songs when I think
Mhm.
about the people I care about most who I've lost in my life. The something about those songs and the energy of it really hit me. They really uplift me. I find them empowering, and I'm so glad I got to share that with you, man. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. Similarly to you, there were no skips on your playlist. I
Mm.
loved everything. We decided to rank them, so we had to do our best.
Yep.
So the thing that unfortunately fell technically into that position, this was Zach Williams to the table. This was a song with an absolutely beautiful message. It's a song that, it's pretty overtly Christian, but it's overtly Christian in all the best ways, in
Mm.
all the ways that mean everything to me. It's a song about welcoming. It's a song about connection. It's a song about forgiveness. We know I love to talk about Kurt Vonnegut on this podcast and in my day job and all other times of the day. Love Vonnegut. Uh, the Vonnegut was not a religious guy, but man, oh man, did he love the concept of Jesus, and did
Mm.
he love writing about it and talking about it. And it was because of these sorts of ideals. So this invitation to come to a table and be forgiven, it was very beautiful, I think. And a sentiment we could all use during some dark times for sure. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that, that you enjoyed it, but I'm glad that it's, wasn't a total turn off and that sonically it was at least pleasant.
Oh yeah.
I think back on this year and we had K-pop Demon Hunters
Mm,
and Knives Out,
yeah.
Wake Up Dead Man, which both help to zero in on this idea of like, man, I love when the priest is saying that like, no, it's not that about being fixed. It's not about like
Yes.
erasing the bad parts. It's not about getting rid of the bad parts. And it's about understanding that all of you is worthy. It's all part of the whole. Like in K-pop Demon Hunters, like I'm embracing all parts of me,
Yeah.
right?
Th- Bring it all to the table. There's nothing he ain't seen before. That was my
Mm,
favorite line. So
love that. Appreciate that, buddy.
beautiful. All right. Hit me with number 9, man.
All right, number 9. Let me pull my notes back up. Number 9, this is where I had, Broad Daylight.
Nice.
Yep. Um, nothing bad to say. It's like I hate the ranking process, I think, maybe,
Yeah.
because it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful,
Mm,
and I I don't really have any good reasons why it's not number 5 or 4 or
yep.
6, other than it's not any of the ones that are in that area. Why did you pick
Yep.
this one for me?
I picked that one, honestly, I'm gonna say because of James Gunn. If you go back to our Superman coverage, I was so shocked when he included Noah and the whale in a key scene in his movie in 2025.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of mid to late 2000s representation on this list, and this was a great example of a song that I would like maybe open a mixtape with in college. I could be misremembering this. I'm gonna say I'm fairly certain this was a Stevie recommendation
Okay.
back in the olden times.
Musically so
So there you
interesting.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite as, off the general vibe as This Is Not the End was, but this had such a
Mhm.
cool, like, syncopated musical approach from the very, very first bars. Really cool.
Beautiful.
Not surprised it's a Stevie special.
Yeah. Over at my number 9, another song that I found moving. I loved it. I thought that it was beautiful. I think if I had watched the show it was written for, it would probably hop up my list, but I've never watched Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I really enjoyed Come Join the Murder. Going in, I did not predict the subject matter, but I absolutely loved that we were evoking a murder of crows, which was a beautiful sentiment because
Mm,
it's got this sound of a harsh edge, yet it is a song about trying to find a community, trying to find purpose and forgiveness, and that can go awry. But this imagery of being a crow, joining this order, and maybe not having it always go right, but being so well intentioned, I thought was really powerful and beautiful. And I loved if my light research was correct, it was written specifically for the show and to evoke like a biker gang with that imagery, I thought was really beautiful.
so glad that you liked the song.
Yeah.
I was confident I could include it musically for you and that
Yeah.
you'd vibe with it musically. I knew you would lack the connection to the show. I'm not certain I can do another whole watch of Sons of Anarchy,
Hmm.
but getting you to watch it is almost reason enough
Yeah.
to do it.
I mean, we've got Helen from Lost in the house, so
Don't even get me started on Gemma. Don't even get me started on Gemma. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Um, down to my number 8 now.
yes, indeed.
This is the song that was most familiar to me. Like as soon as it came on, I was like, "Oh, of
Nice.
course, this track." You know which one it's gonna be? So we
No.
Naked and Famous, Presidents of the United
Nice.
States of America, right? Just like really classic 90s stuff. Immediately, like I said, so familiar to my ear. I was like, "Oh, take me back."
Mhm.
Lyrically, chef's kiss. We all wanna be naked and famous. I love this, like, of that moment, celebrity was changing in such a big way in the '90s. Like, I can't claim to know exactly what, the POA were really
Mhm.
speaking of here, but it seems to me that, like, the desire for fame, the desire to be something more than you are was so
Yeah.
all-encompassing, so gripping coming out of the '80s and into the '90s. Image heavy, more media, being streamed to us than ever before,
Yeah.
and 30-Foot Smurf. Every time that drops, it's an absolute bop. It's like a moment every time. So, yeah, great tune.
Yeah, I love the opening to that one, and yeah, it's timeless. Maybe instead of, talking about billboards, we talk about reality TV in the present, but yeah, that idea of chasing fleeting celebrity in superficial ways, it's stuck with us, even if, you know, the deployment has changed. It's
Mhm.
still there.
Yep.
Number 8 for me, this was one of my faves from last year. I'm going back to the High Women with Crowded Table. First and foremost, this was more table imagery for me. I love table imagery. We got it in the first track. I think I've mentioned on the pod before that I love the poem Perhaps the World Ends Here by Joy Harjo, which is a reflection on all the things that happen around a kitchen table, both the good, the bad, the tragic, all the things you work through there. So anything that evokes that is great. What I loved about this song was, first of all, the harmonizing was particularly beautiful in this one. And I loved that there was a similar message of welcoming to what we got in that earlier track, but you could apply this to anything.
Mhm.
You could apply this crowded table to like a friendsgiving amongst 20 something friends with no other attachments in the world. You could apply this crowded table to someone who is aspiring to like build their own sort of like natural biological nuclear family and make it large. And it works equally well for any
Yep.
kind of family, even for a chosen family, which perhaps we'll talk about before
Yeah.
this list is through. I really loved that, and there was one little added bonus for it. Um, I was looking at just sort of like the album art for this, and opening act for Rilo Kiley, Natalie Bergman. She would fit in great with this crew.
Sure would.
Get her on the tambourine, and that added an extra layer of imagination and enjoyment for me. So thank you for this one. I'm certainly a fan. 2 years in a row. I can't wait to hear next year's High Women track.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I was not to spoil a whole list, but generally speaking, there's a theme in the playlist of chosen family, of community. I really wanted to celebrate our growing community. Like that's what this year was about to me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was pretty stoked to find a High Women track that fit the theme for the
Yes.
playlist. I'll try to do the same next year.
Oh yeah, your theme came through loud and clear, and I loved
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad. Very cool. All right, on to my number 7. This is where I have the Decemberists. Thank you for including this on the
Nice.
playlist. My goodness, you introduced me to such good music, buddy. This is where I
Thank
have
you.
Bandit Queen. Man, I really enjoyed this track. It's so beautiful and it's familiar to a lot of songs that I've loved. What I wrote down for this one as I was listening to it was like, this is definitely going to find its way onto a Portland playlist for our anniversary
Mm,
weekend. My wife and I go away to Portland, usually every December for our wedding anniversary. It's where we went the weekend of our wedding the first time, and we've done it each year since. Um, and that is it's winter, and it's sleepy in Portland, Maine, and it's all about the chillest vibes,
beautiful.
and I loved the storytelling of this track. I loved the piano that's in there was just lovely musically, this was so
Mhm.
interesting, and just, like, the poetic lyrics, they pull you
Yeah.
right in. It's like he's, like, so full of wistful love for his bandit queen.
Mhm. Chris, can I make you love this song even more?
Lay it on me, buddy.
Friend of the pod,
Come on.
Maria Giddings, we saw her last on our Taylor Swift episode.
Mhm.
I know this song because of her, and the first time I heard it, it gets better. It was at her wedding, they had a string, like, bluegrass quartet, and this was the song she walked down the aisle to, was a live playing of this song.
Wow.
How cool is
That's
that?
that is the definition of cool. That is
Yeah.
very cool. Man, that's awesome.
Uh, yeah, so glad you appreciated that one. I was, like, fairly confident that one was gonna hit you properly.
It hit.
Number 7 for me, this was the one track on your list that, like, I knew super, super, super well, was deeply familiar with, but I was so happy to hear it because I too absolutely love this song. This is the White Stripes, "We Are Going to Be Friends." I love everything about this. Big White Stripes fan. I love this song. I love how cute and adorable and twee it is.
Mhm.
I'm fairly certain I first heard this in Napoleon Dynamite once upon a time, over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just so of that era. It makes me want to like watch Napoleon Dynamite. It makes me want to pull out Juno and rewatch that film. Also a killer soundtrack to that movie.
Yep.
But I love this. It's cute, but it's also sincere. Um, Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Just two kids innocently exploring the world. Doesn't get much better than that. It's a great song and I love it. Honestly, the only reason it's not higher is because I was even more excited to talk about some of the newer stuff. But such a great track.
I appreciate that very, very much. Figured it would be familiar to you. Again, on theme, had to include it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. We're at number 6 now, almost halfway
Mhm.
through. This was where I placed I'm just gonna pull it up, make sure they have it accurate. This is where I placed, Beat,
Nice.
Health, Life, and Fire. Um, can you pronounce this artist's name for me so I don't get it incorrect?
I believe it's Tao Nguyen.
Thank you very, very much. Um, yeah, just the intro was, like, almost Irishy. The
Mm,
musically on the way in, it caught my ears like, "Oh, what are we doing here?" Then it didn't end up being that, but absolutely love her voice. It's the exact kind of sleepy singer-songwriter voice that
mhm.
I want, you know? Um, so yeah, just lovely, and so it sat right there at the middle of the list 'cause it's a vibe that you can, like, just close your eyes to and vibe with at any time.
Yeah. I'm so glad you loved it. That album, by Tao and the Get Down, Stay Down, We Brave, Bee Stings, and all. It's a no skips kind of album. I had a really hard time deciding which track to give you. I knew I wanted to do something from that album. But yeah, so glad you loved it. It feels good when you get it right.
Yeah, man.
Um, so number 6 for me, it was a new song for me. I had somehow never heard this one before, but I thought it was really beautiful. This was Rina, is it Sawayama?
Yep,
Rina Sawayama with Elton John,
exactly right.
uh, with Chosen Family. I absolutely loved this song. I think we live in a world and a culture, a lot of the stories that we share and that we love at the end of the day, they're about chosen families.
Mm.
They're the sources of so many stories. From what I understand, this is really inspired by what the singer and her friends and family were going through, looking for connection, looking for acceptance, trying to find it. Certainly, Elton John has lived that struggle on a global stage for his whole life and been a huge ambassador. So to see him jump in for this song, um, I really loved it. Um, the lyrics were very, like, on the nose
Super on the nose.
in a good way,
Yeah.
just articulating exactly what a chosen family is, and I was loving it, but it goes so hard at the end, it's impossible not to just be swept into the joy. It, like, viscerally makes you feel the feeling of acceptance, and I can only imagine that's what they were going for.
That's what I was going for when I shared it with you, so I'm so
Yeah.
glad that that hit. I really wanted you to feel that joy, and I specifically chose that Elton John version because it has a different kind of rising energy, especially at the
Mhm.
end, with his lyrical performance or his vocal performance, so, yeah, glad that worked for you, man.
Beautiful.
Alright. So, spoilers for Podolay.
Nice.
At number 5, I've got, I've got Beck's Death Valley High here. Um, man, this was just a blasty blast. It was, again, like, I was like, "Oh, oh, do I this is, like, something I have to, like, look forward to in terms of the potential for his sound," right?
Mhm.
Um, Let me just pull my notes back up, 'cause I wanna make sure I wrote down some specific things for this. You can make this an edit moment. As a preview for his potential sound, I love the funk of this.
Mm.
Like, it almost sounds like it could be for a CW show, Death Valley High, the name of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw the
yeah.
title, I was like, "Death Valley High, okay, I'm curious to hear what
Mhm,
this is gonna
mhm.
sound like." I was not expecting that funky sound. You've got, like, that signature Beck blend of influences here. There's a big band sound on this. If there's more, like, big
Mhm.
band sound to come from Beck's music, I'm pretty stoked on that. And of course, lyrically, the devil is here.
Why wouldn't he be? People
'Cause Beck.
always listen according to that.
Yeah.
Especially drunk people in bars who don't wanna listen to the kid who wandered onto the stage in 1992 or whatever. They will pay attention. Alright. I'm so glad you loved it, by the way. Yeah, shout out to that collaboration with Orville Peck.
Mhm.
I was like, "Do I really make Kris listen to more Beck?" It's not officially on one of his albums, so I said, "Let's go for it."
How much of that sound is Orville Peck, and how much of that do I have to look forward to from Beck?
Uh, I don't know a lot of Orville Peck, but, that song certainly convinces me that Beck is one of his influences,
Beauteous.
if nothing else. Um, alright, moving on to number 5, an artist I know, but not very well going into this, despite this being a big name. Uh, I I'm a little embarrassed because I didn't even know if I was pronouncing Hozier correctly. Did I
Yes.
get that right?
Hozier, an Irishman.
Yeah, Hozier. So not only did I really enjoy "Someone New" by Hozier, but, like, it inspired me to go back and listen to "Take Me to Church" because it had been a
Mhm.
minute. Man, that's such a powerful, powerful track. But, we're here to talk about "Someone New," which I absolutely loved. Uh, One thing that really engages me with a song is when there are a lot of interpretations
Mhm.
to the
Yep.
song, and I think there's a read of this song that some people might feel very negatively about. This idea that you might fall in love with people multiple times over and over again. And you might feel like that's reinforced a little bit. I mean, I checked out the music video as well. My girl Natalie Dormer is there, aka Marjorie Tyrell. The way this plays out in the music video is a lot of her making out with people. And I can understand why they wanted to go there. But listening to the words of the song, not that there's anything wrong with expressing love in that way. I'm not trying to shame that behavior. I thought that was wonderful. But this struck me as more of like an emotional thing
Mm.
than just a physical thing. And there's this article I read 10 or 15 years ago. Every once in a while, I go searching the internet for an hour trying to find this article once again, and I cannot find it.
Hmm.
But it was about a scientific study that was trying to explore love as sort of a chemical reaction. And it was kind of the study based around this hypothesis that like people do fall in love every day, constantly with different people. Doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love, but there can be something chemical that happens in an interaction. And it doesn't have to be a romantic interaction. And I just thought that was the most beautiful concept that
Mm.
like when you make a beautiful connection with someone, you are falling in love with them. Even if it's just for a fleeting moment, even if
Yeah.
you're never going to see each other again. And the fact that this song got me thinking about that
Mhm.
concept that's fascinated me for so long, uh, made me so happy. It doesn't have quite the dramatic, epic punch of like a "Take Me to Church,"
Yeah.
uh, but I found it still very moving. And I'll never say no to Natalie Dormer.
Buddy, that hit you exactly, yeah, I mean, absolutely right. That hit you exactly the way that I hoped that it would, because I do think
Hmm.
probably even if, like, to the music video's point, maybe within Hozier's album and the larger body of work that is that album,
Yeah.
this is probably about, like, preferring to chase more fleeting
Sure.
love, not even just physical, even emotional, but fleeting rather than a
Yeah.
deep, long-term, more
Hmm.
challenging kind of connection. But I included it because I hear these lyrics. I hear love with every stranger, the stranger the better. And I hear a calling to be out there in the
Hmm.
world connecting with
Yeah.
people, leaving yourself open enough. to connect with someone. The
Yeah.
stranger, the better. The eye contact on the subway to let them know
Mhm.
that I'm a human and you're a human, and I see you. A
Yeah.
conversation as you walk the block, with somebody you just happen to be walking alongside of. These things make us human. So I'm so glad that you got that from the song.
Beautiful. I'm tempted to ask you, Chris, can you do any stories come to mind of someone that you've, quote, unquote, "fallen in love with" in this way in your past?
Oh, I mean, so when you were sharing your, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
article, I so silly, I thought of, like, a reel that was sent to me earlier today. My buddy Blake sent me a reel of a man playing the didgeridoo, and the way he
Yep,
explained, like, the way he was playing this particular form of the instrument, like, I was, like, listening to him, and I thought to myself I said to my friend Blake, I first of all, I love this man. I want to converse with this man. Like, I just, like, connected. But more so, I think of, like, I've had friends on the street, a gentleman named Ron Buckley who I connected with, like, he ended up becoming more of a long-term friend, but the first conversation we shared was just standing side by side one another outside of the tea
yeah,
stop, on Arlington Street, and then he needed a bite to eat, which turned into a bite to eat together, which turned into a one-time conversation, then it would be months before I'd ever see him again, but
yeah,
then I saw him again, and it became a long-term friendship, um, but it never would have happened if, like, we weren't willing to just say, like, "Wicked cold out here, huh?"
yeah,
But that's all it was.
yeah. I love that you went in, like, a completely non-romantic direction. I'm gonna go in one that's, like, slightly in a romantic direction, but the reason why I wanna bring it up is I think this philosophy and way of looking at the world is such a great way to have a healthy view of your relationship. So this is going back to college. This is before I ever met my wife or anything like that. I took a college course at UMass Amherst. It was an arts course, and basically part of the course was you had to attend all sorts of different artistic events. So, like, you had to go to, like, like museum displays. I had to go to, like, an opera. I had to check out all this different culture in the area and write about it. It was really cool. I checked out a bunch of things I never would have done, including a modern dance performance, which I wound up loving. But it was for this
Hmm.
class, so I had like you got your ticket through the class, and I, like, showed up. I just kinda went on my own, like a homework assignment, and I wound up sitting next to this girl from Smith College, and we struck up this really great conversation, afterwards out of nowhere. Um, and now this never became a relationship, nor did it really go anywhere, and I know what you're thinking at home. No, I did not get a fake phone number. That's what I would think too. I honestly forget exactly why it didn't go anywhere. Uh, but I think what I've kind of chalked it up to is, like, the moment passed.
Yeah.
We had the moment we were meant to have, and that was all it ever had to be. And it was this really great conversation that brought that modern dance performance to life for me. There was, like, this sort of exciting, like, hope of something more attached to it. And I think society would have taught me to, like, be a jerk about that. Like, oh, why, like, why didn't this go anywhere? But when you look at the world a little bit differently, and you can just see, like, that's a beautiful, great thing that happens.
Mm.
We moved on with our lives. It's wonderful. So thanks,
Love that.
Hosier. You inspired the biggest segment of our podcast tonight.
Yeah. Oh, sure. An Irishman, as I said, proper Irishman,
Naturally.
naturally. All right. Now we're down to,
Yeah.
we're in our top 5. I'm on to number 4 now for me.
Hmm.
This is where I put Jenny. You introduced me to a little bit of Jenny Lewis solo music here with
Nice.
Acid Tongue. Um, the first thing I wrote down was just, damn, I love her voice.
Yeah.
It's just it's just so beautiful. This song is so simple. It's perfectly stripped down to its, like, the bare bones, musically speaking, right? Very, very stripped down musical backing and that, like, sweet songbird melody
Hmm.
coming from a truly superb vocalist
Yeah.
and classic Jenny Lewis storytelling style.
Yeah. Just that refrain of "We'll build ourselves a fire."
Oof,
I just think about that randomly sometimes, and I get the good chills.
the good chills, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful discussion. I'm so glad you loved it. I went in a different direction for my number 4. This was a song that, like, I know I had heard it before, because I really enjoyed tracks off of this album when it came out, but I don't think I ever really lingered on this one for whatever reason. But this was fun. It's all right. The band
Yeah.
fun. Um, I could see someone like groaning and moaning at me for putting this so high on my list because, that was one of those bands that came out, they kind of like hit the scene really hard for a brief moment there with a few hits and then, kind of disappeared again. If someone didn't like this band and their music, I would understand. It's all like super heavily produced. It's
Mhm.
like this super mm, like full sound, but I
It's, like, clean
really,
almost
yeah,
in the complexity of its composure, yeah.
I love that heavily produced stuff sometimes. I love a stripped down song as well. But something about these songs with fun, they manage to capture these emotional beats, these bittersweet details about growing up or experiencing loss or doubting yourself. And they just jump it up to this epic scale so effortlessly. And this was the track that I found myself like doing the dishes and I wanted to hear it again
Mhm.
and a second time and a third time. And I love it when a song hits me that way. It wasn't particularly subtle, but I mean, who hasn't experienced this sort of doubt? I've given everyone I know a good reason to go, but I came back with the belief that everyone I love is going to leave me, that it's all right. I guess it's all right. It's not a happy
Mhm.
conclusion. But to sort of like commiserate with someone who
Yeah.
is experiencing that fear, to know you're not alone in that fear. And hopefully for me, this is the kind of thing that helps me push those kind of thoughts aside and embrace what really matters.
Yes, you have to look into the dark in order to embrace the light
But yeah,
sometimes.
love, fun, and I was so glad to revisit them because I hadn't listened in a while.
I'm so glad that you were able to enjoy it for what it was worth. You're right, they were such a moment, this album was such a moment, but I love this whole album. This one and that Hozier album were both huge
Yeah.
for me when I was living in New York City. I was in New York from, like, 2012 to 2014-ish, and doing so much walking, commuting,
Yeah.
and subway commuting at that time, and so this album and that Hozier album were on repeat in those years.
Beautiful.
Alright, this was where I placed a really fun track.
This is number three.
This is number 3 for me,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so this is where you introduced me to another song I had not heard before. This is from, The Boy Least Likely To.
Yes.
This is Every Goliath Has Its David. Um, just musically really, really fun. Um, looking for my notes, can't find them. I Everything about the way, like, he talks about overcoming this sort of underdog feeling in his life. Like,
Mhm.
it's a super common image, one that we can all relate to
Oh, yeah.
very immediately. Every Goliath has its David. Every problem, has the solution to it, but he, like, really literalizes that throughout.
Mhm.
To get a shout out to Puppy Power,
Yes. Scrappy Dappy Doo.
Scrappy Dap dude, Scrappy Doo is, to the chagrin of many a Scooby Doo fan, but my daughter is a kid, right, without any
Yeah.
baggage, so when she was watching Scooby Doo at 3 years old, she loved Scrappy Doo.
Dude, I like Scrappy Doo.
Let me at him.
Yeah.
Love me some puppy power. So yeah, lyrically, really enjoyed this. Um, love a shout out to Knowing Kung Fu. I think a couple of times on this playlist, we hit
Mhm.
shouts to Knowing Karate and to Knowing Kung Fu.
We
Very
sure do,
nine
Chris.
yeah, 90s, 2000s. Uh, I was just watching an episode of Full House, and Michelle's playing with her friends, and they're the Mighty Mutant Ninja Kids, I think, is what they were playing. I was like,
Beautiful.
"Man, we loved ninjas in the '90s, we really did."
Mhm.
But yeah, great track. Had to land it here at number 3 because I will listen to this again and again. Musically, I was walking to the train, and I was just, like, bopping, in the morning. I revisited it again this morning, and I was bopping again just like I did the first time. I was like, "Yeah, man, this is it. This is a blasty blast of a track."
Yeah, I love that band, The Boy Least Likely To. This is another one of those, based on the Superman movie, I'm guessing James Gunn knows some Boy Least Likely To tracks,
Mm,
that he has up his sleeve. But yeah, like, every song they write sounds like it might have been written for a children's cartoon. But there's often a lot of depth and sometimes a lot of darkness. Every Goliath has its David has a pretty positive message, but they can go pretty dark. There can be a pretty heavy juxtaposition between the tone of the song and what they're saying sometimes. But I love
y
them.
This almost could be a cartoon, like, from a kid's
Oh, yeah.
cartoon. Yeah, wow.
But yeah, that's the vibe, and that's the vibe of the songs. I think the first track I ever heard from them was called "I'm Glad I Hitched My Apple Wagon to Your Star," which is, another great one if you're liking The Boy Least Likely to.
Lovely.
Number 3 for me, this is a song I know I'd heard it before, and I love this artist, but I was realizing as I listened, I'm not sure why this one never made it more heavily into my rotation, but this is, Lou Reed,
Mm,
"Coney Island Baby." Um, love Lou Reed. One of the most haunting, like, just abstract, like, almost otherworldly voices of
mhm.
all the musicians. Maybe I say otherworldly because one of my favorite Lou Reed tracks is "Satellite of Love," which is just an absolute great track, but this Coney Island Baby, it is pure reflection. You
Yeah.
mentioned "Stripped Down" earlier. This is borderline more of a conversation than a song.
Mm,
Um, but it's deployed musically. It's deployed with emotional depth and meaning.
mhm.
It's something incredibly powerful. Um, and while the subject matter here was a lot heavier, about identity, finding comfort and confidence in yourself when people don't see it, when you're an outcast, that was also moving. It also hit me on just a stylistic level. As you know from last year's playlist, I'm a huge fan of singer and songwriter Jonathan Richman.
Mm.
Someone who was not as famous as Lou Reed, but was like coming up musically around the same time. And even though these lyrics were so serious, it was so clear to me like what a big inspiration Lou Reed was for Jonathan Richman. That kind of quiet talking reflection. I love it when a song can pull me in that way. When I
Mm.
feel like I am in an intimate space with the performer, getting to know something and feeling an experience that maybe I haven't experienced before. It's one of the best things music can do. So this one made me feel a little bit cooler. It made me feel like I had given some more time to my Lou Reed fandom that it deserved. And thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Cool, man. I figured you would be a fan of Lou Reed, so grateful this was one that, wasn't so familiar to you.
Yeah.
Alright, we're down to the top 2. This is a track from maybe one of the more, like, cachet names on the list that you gave to me.
Hmm.
This is where I have, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robot by the Flaming Lips. Um, Holy goodness gracious, did I enjoy this track. This was familiar. At no point, like, it was one of those things I'm listening like, I know no, do I? Do I know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know this song. Dude, Yoshimi is so dreamy all throughout. It's like that's the feeling I had listening to it. Like I was walking through my own dream or walking through somebody else's dream,
Hmm.
perhaps. Again, we're talking, about karate. It's very important that she knows karate. We need to know karate. Just absolutely love the whole sound. I could get lost in it. Again, I think I said I forget which track I was talking about before, but to close your eyes and just sit back and, like, just let this thing take you on a journey in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
Um, like, I wanna be driving on, like, Highway 1 in California, like, just
Yeah.
north of Marin County on a slow, sunny day, um, just, like, letting this song wash over me. Yeah, she knows karate, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. It's just such a fun song. And I think when I first heard that song, like I had no experience or connection to sort of like anime culture.
Mhm.
Um, in fact, if I'm being fully honest, when I first heard the song, I think I was kind of skeptical of the whole thing. Uh, and for the song to so instantaneously win me over, and for them to find the beauty in the storytelling, and to put together this, absurd tale of a woman battling pink robots,
Mhm.
um, but making me feel for her. Like there's some real emotional thing there, and this, like you mentioned, that dreamy nature as well. Yeah, there's something about that song that's special. I never don't want to hear this song when it comes up. I don't think I've ever skipped it in my entire life because you know that it'd be tragic if those evil robots win.
Yeah, man. She doesn't skip her vitamins, and you shouldn't skip the song.
She has to discipline her body.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you so much. I'm so glad that made it so high on your list. I also just smiled to myself because I remembered what must be number one, and that was the song I was most confident that maybe I guessed right. So, but
Nice.
before we get there, number two for me, this is an artist we've talked about in the past. We both knew that we loved James Taylor. Um, Listened to a lot of James Taylor growing up, especially some earlier tracks from James Taylor. My mom always liked to jokingly call James Taylor her cousin because her mother's maiden name was Taylor. She
Sweet.
is not actually related to James Taylor, nor did she ever try to convince anyone of that. Um, but I love the gentleness and softness of James Taylor's voice. I don't know if there's a more beautiful song than Fire and Rain. Um, and he has that whole gentle nature about him that I absolutely love. It evokes nostalgia. Um, Even though I love the James Taylor I've listened to, this was probably like whatever album my mom had in the car that I listened to over and over again. I've never actively pursued the whole discography. And the song you gave me, Shed a Little Light, it's from 1991, an era of James Taylor that I don't think I knew before. I don't think I've heard this one prior to you hitting me with it on this playlist. Obviously, there was the added bonus that he's shouting out Martin Luther King at the
Mhm.
beginning, and the main goal of this song is to celebrate the hard work and sacrifice of the fight for civil rights,
Yeah.
and to also acknowledge that that is an ongoing battle. That was true in the 60s. It was true in 1991. And boy, oh boy, is it true today in 2026, unfortunately. Uh, we're seeing that kind of, unfortunately, confrontation. We're seeing people trying to create that kind of dynamic tension that Martin Luther King spoke of.
Mhm.
And we're seeing a lot of the same charges levied against those people that were levied against people like Martin Luther King. People like to
Mhm.
forget that not everyone was on board, that people were very intent on labeling him as a rabble rouser and a troublemaker and a dangerous man. Uh, and if you know that and you see people trying to turn that script on people in the present, it teaches you something.
Mhm.
But luckily, James Taylor, man, he is here. He's here for the love.
Yep.
He's here for the support. There is a feeling like the clenching of a fist. There is a hunger in the center of the chest. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will
Never
never
rest.
rest. Um, yeah, if I needed a song to blast to shout out the aggressive demands of ICE agents, this would be a great pick. Just wash them over with that love, man.
Wow. Wow, that's
Um,
powerful.
I love this had me thinking of Pete Seeger quite a bit. Um, this message of love, like I'm not going to use my instrument to destroy fascists. I'm going to use my instrument to surround my enemies with love and force them to surrender. Is a riff on another famous thing that Pete Seeger had on his banjo, and I was just getting that vibe. And yeah, I found this so moving and powerful, and I'll be listening to this song a lot, and I'll be drawing some strength and power. He certainly shed a little light on me with this track. Hope I didn't go too deep with you, but I hope you understand why it was up there at number two.
Dude, it means the world to me. I oscillated between the good chills and near
Yeah,
tears as
yeah,
you were
yeah,
talking about that song, because that song
yeah,
really the lyrics are something that every once in a while, to your point, I'll throw on and just let it wash over me and let it
yeah.
renew my spirit and let me embrace these simple, truths that we are all one. Um, so yeah, so glad that worked for you the way that it did. That is off of the James Taylor, like, the Best Live
Yes.
album. Um, that defines James Taylor for me. That's what was always in the
Hmm.
car growing up. So yeah, glad you
Beautiful.
liked it. All right, my number 1 song, one of my new favorite songs forever and
Yes.
always. It will be on multiple tracks from now on
Yes.
moving forward. This is where I have Wild Soul
Nice.
from. This is, The Law in collaboration with Langhorne Slim, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember why I first encountered this track or where. I'm not
Okay,
familiar with the full body of work, but it's one of those that hit me at some point in the past and never went away, because 'cause I've always kept it present on playlists and tracks. I kind of always just assumed The Law was his, like, group he regularly performs with.
okay.
I didn't even bother to Google it when I made your list, but, whatever it is, love this track.
It's just it's beautiful. The whistling is very much my shit.
Yep.
Any song that effectively employs a whistle, absolutely. Not for anybody listening at home, not the whistle, the instrument, the whistle, the mouth instrument.
Yes.
Uh, Lyrically, it's not like it's pretty straightforward. It's primarily that refrain,
Mhm.
um, calling out to the Lord to release my wild soul, and done with such feeling, such beauty. Um, One lyric I did want to highlight, though, my gosh, and Lord, release my wild soul. Nothing here belongs to us. Someday we'll all be dust. And even if it's dangerous,
Mhm.
please, Lord, release my wild soul. At one point, one of those repetitions, he gets this like deep, guttural, really soulful thing going when he calls for that release of his wild soul. He doesn't sound like that at any other point on the track. And I was just like, oh, like, it moved me in my seat as I was listening to it. I really enjoyed this song, man. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Dude, I'm so glad you loved it. As I was going through my common songs, I was just like, "This feels like the most Chris song that I know. I think he's gonna love this one." So, I had no idea if it was, like, gonna jump to number 1 like it did, but I was pretty sure it wasn't gonna be number 10.
It's number one, buddy.
That's so beautiful. I'm so glad you loved it. Um At number 1 for me, an
Mhm.
artist an artist that I do love, but an artist that, like, I think just time and a career and parenthood has kept me from properly keeping up with over the years. And I'm gonna go with the Shake It Out acoustic version from Florence and the Machine. I absolutely love everything I've ever heard by Florence and the Machine. Like much of the world, I was a big fan of the album Lungs. I've heard every song on that a million times. Dog Days Are Over is one of the best songs ever written.
Yep.
Uh, even though I loved it, I was a little bit shocked just based on like tone, vibe, and style that this was the track James Gunn used to close out the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. I was pleasantly surprised because that song absolutely rips and it's so joyful
Mhm.
and full of drama and value. Um, but yeah, kind of like life went on, and I never did a great job keeping up with the full discography for Florence and the Machine. And I just put this on. It starts out so simple, so quiet, and then, like Florence always does, it
Mhm.
just rips. It like grabs onto your soul, your heart, your spirit, and it pulls you along. Her theatrical nature,
Yeah.
the power of her voice. Um, sometimes when singers do like these voice fluctuations, they feel like these like meaningless attempts to show off the range or play around without intent. But every quiver of the voice is intentional with Florence and the Machine. Every pronunciation is powerful, and it causes you to hang on to those words more
Mm.
tightly. And the song was no exception. I thought that I was like making a really brilliant connection when I was like, "Man, this song is really making me think, uh, how much Florence reminds me of Kate Bush." Only to learn that I'm very late to the party on that, and, I learned that Kate Bush and Florence and the Machine mashups are a big thing, and I was very late to the party, but if nothing else, justified in feeling that way. What an incredible theatrical, dramatic performer. Such an important reminder for me to make sure I'm getting out there and catching all these great tracks that I haven't spent time with yet. Um, so yeah, brought me back to an artist I love, gave me a new flavor of that artist. Uh, I this is an artist, my beloved Stevie, who I've been mentioning all night, someone we bonded over back in the day. So yeah, thank you so much for this. So glad we can share our love for Flow.
Same. I didn't think there was a chance that you hadn't heard this track before, so I thought maybe you hadn't heard the acoustic version. This is
Mhm.
specifically from an MTV Unplugged recording.
Love
Depending
MTV
on
Unplugged.
doesn't exist anymore, buddy.
Yep.
MTV has been officially shuttered, and so I don't know how far in the future the Podlings will, discover this episode. Maybe it's 2055, and they're like, "What's an MTV?" Because it's gone now. It's officially no more. So I had to include a little unplugged for you. Glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for the playlist, man. This was such a great device. I'm so glad that you offered this gift to me in season 1. We got to repeat it again for season 2.
Yeah, and I wanna thank you for another great year, spending all this time with me. Um, it's not shocking to me that we went longer than I anticipated on this. I enjoy talking to you too much. For all the podlings who are out there, we'll probably find a way to tighten up our prop cave segment next year, but I hope you enjoyed us enjoying ourselves, 'cause, we really treasured every one of those props, every one of those stories, and I now will treasure every one of these tracks I got from Kris. So yeah, thanks for a great year, man. Do you want to remind the people where they can find us?
Yeah, of course. I'll do it one last time for season 2. But thank
Yeah,
you, buddy, again for inviting me along on this journey that is Media Lit. Started with an episode once upon a time, a guest spot, and it's been quite the journey ever since. So another great season, and I just appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you.
beautiful.
We'll keep the rest of this nice and quick. Folks, if you're listening to this, it's because hopefully you already love the pod and you know where to find us. But if you have not yet, clicked that subscribe button, that follow button, whatever it is that the platform you are listening to uses to refer to the fact that you want more of this in your feed, click that button. And if you can, while you're at it, give us a rating. This is going to help other folks find Media Lit. If you've enjoyed this listen and you want other folks to do it too, give us the follows and give us the ratings. Thank you so much. More importantly, our website is out there. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts, and we're on all the social medias. Just search Media Lit Podcast, and you're bound to find us. Last but not least, we want to hear from you in season
Yes,
3. It's so important to us that some of the homework that we get assigned on Media Lit and some of the discussion is driven by you all, our faithful podlings. So the inbox is open. You can email us at media.slash.lit@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
beautiful. Kris, thank you so much for doing that. While you're searching us and supporting us, please take a moment to support us also over at the Pop Break podcast feed
Mhm.
and support our friends. We both have some podcasts over there, including Podlay, which we talked about tonight. We spent time talking about all of our beloved projects, and we really absolutely want your support. So I just want to say, we hope that we will reward you, Podlings, by kicking off season 3 with, this will not surprise you, an incredibly wacky and convoluted draft that is sure to awaken your nostalgia, with some beloved friends like Doug Leaf, Amanda Rivas, Josh Sarnecki. We've got some really great folks joining us for
Yeah.
this chat. So I can't wait to share that with you. Kris, anything going on Batman by the Numbers that you want to shout out before we
Ye
go?
Absolutely. I am also the co-host of the Batman by the Numbers podcast, and we're back to the Dark Knight this year. In 2025, we did a lot of Superman chat. Quiz Banks making an appearance.
Welcome,
Uh,
Quiz Binks.
yes, hello. To anybody who's listening, sorry, my cat's in the background visually. But yeah, we talked about Superman all year long in 2025,
Yeah,
so we're really excited to get back to Batman to celebrate some of the most iconic eras in his history over the course of this year. Of course, it will be laden with drafts and rankings, all the best stuff
yep.
from Batman by the Numbers.
Beautiful. Always a great time. Can't wait to listen and can't wait to chat with you guys again. And hey, if all goes well, maybe we can chat about the Patriots with fellow Pats fan Dan.
Here's hoping, buddy.
Fingers crossed. All right, folks, that does it for season 2. We will see you next time for season 3 and have a great night.